Hey everyone, welcome back to the Florida Relocation Guide. My name is Adam Hancock, and today I have a little bit different format for you because there are 7 specific opportunities, possible opportunities I think, that exist right now in Sarasota, Florida that you should be privy to, where time matters, perspective matters, and I don't think the same things will necessarily be true even 30 days from now. So I wanted to relay that just off the cuff, stream of consciousness style to you as soon as possible. So I really hope you enjoy this one, and let's get into it. All right, the first opportunity I wanted to bring to you guys is about the community of Artistry that's in mid to northern Sarasota, Florida. Now, Artistry was, up until this point, was 100% Coulter as a builder. This community, which Coulter, you know, is uniquely luxurious. They have a luxury condominium background. They didn't venture too much into single family homes, but people really like the floor plans. They let you do, 4-car garages. They had deep setbacks, and, it was interesting. So Artistry also interesting on its own outright. People really loved the location. It's not all the way in Lakewood Ranch. It's not all the way in Palmer Ranch. It's kind of in between with the roads of DeBreckin and Lorraine, and you can access downtown Waterside where I stand here. You can access, the beach is easier in downtown. People really love the location. So herein we enter the problem, is access. So there's been a couple problems. Its ability to actually sign a contract is one. There was, whether it's bandwidth or whatever the issues are going on with Coulter, I've seen wait lists where they don't really exist elsewhere. I've seen full 6-7 month holds on being able to sign a contract. The ability to actually finish a home, they're very long build times, and they're long in a lot of places right now, but it feels a little fragile, and that's what I've been seeing a lot. So enter our opportunity. Cardell Homes has bought about 50 different lots in the second phase of Artistry. This gives you another option. Cardell, I've heard mixed opinions based on whatever your background is with them. They used to build in Worthington, which is literally directly across the street from Artistry. And when I saw the floor plans, I thought they were quite lovely. I mean, I thought they were nice, but regardless of any of that, it does give you a second option here. I checked in with the folks. There's waterfront lots. You can sign today. They're still estimating 15 to 18 months like everywhere else, but you can sign a contract without a price escalation. It gives you another opportunity, as I digress here, to be in Artistry. If you were down on Coulter but loved Artistry, didn't like Sky Ranch, don't want to go all the way to Lakewood Ranch, I think it would be something to look at, and it is a base plan starting at $600,000. All right, the second one I wanted to mention, is regarding Wild Blue that's in the Waterside District in southeast Lakewood Ranch, Florida. And I'm not gonna, for this video's purpose, I'm not gonna give you the synopsis on what Wild Blue is. If you're completely unfamiliar, I'll try to link some other videos here. But basically, as a takeaway, it is unique on the luxury custom building Southwest Florida conversation. So the opportunity in this video is discounted base pricing when it comes to Stock Development, who's the master developer, on the first phase alone. This is one where, no one has a crystal ball, no one knows what any guarantees are, but the discounts of 25, 28, 30% off of base prices on the first phase, if you're okay with the lot locations and what they're going to be, I do think this could be one of the rare opportunities where it doesn't actually come back. Where people always say like, oh, you should do it now, or, you're not gonna get this discount again. Well, if you were around at all, in the Lake Club in Genoa, in Lakewood Ranch as well, a year ago, people were getting 1.2 million on water. These ones are regularly 1.9, 2.5 million now. If you're around for any of the opportunities where you saw them not really come back, with the market getting a little bit looser, I think a lot of the urgency is fake and a lot of the frenzy is fake. This one, I don't necessarily believe that is the case. I do believe the $300,000 to $400,000 off of base prices on 68-foot lots, 78-foot lots, whatever they may be, I do think it would be an opportunity, again, if you like the lot locations and the orientation, to opportunistically start into a neighborhood with a myriad of equity. All right, number 3, I'm going to throw at you a uniqueness from an angle of walkability, cool urban housing in a full-on suburb that's hard to replicate all of the combination of those 3 factors. And what I'm talking about here is, obviously it's been hot on my mind. I'm standing in Waterside and I'm giving you another Waterside topic, but we're talking about Emerald Landing by David Weekley, coming soon community, and Nautique by MI Homes, which is also a coming soon community. And between the two of them, have a lot of water access. They're both on water. But they're doing unique housing, right? So Emerald Landing is doing what they did in Payne Park, Payne with a Y. If you look that up, you know, they have second story living rooms, loft style. They're cool. They were like, had 3-story single families. They're very, very urban. And then also like a coastal flair to them. And they were downtown based. This is stuff you'd regularly see in downtown if you didn't want to go full condo. Nautique is doing kind of like some South Tampa style stuff. It sounds like they're doing carriage garages behind the house, courtyards and pass-throughs. You know, I think 75% of the community is some sort of townhome orientation versus single family. Both of these should be walking distance to where I stand here. Try to spin where it doesn't make you sick. But I mean, just beautiful. You have breweries and volleyball courts and hammocks, and it's unique. You know, it's a full-on downtown. But the thing is that this downtown district is in the #1 master plan suburb in the United States. It is, it's different, right? It's suburban living with urban housing, which I don't see a ton, right? A lot of times you're taking some big price sacrifice, and you're in a small little like lean house because of infrastructure, right? You're downtown, there's not a lot of room, it's at a premium, and you're sacrificing it just for the location. These ones I think would give you the cool style, it would give you walkability, but I don't think you're taking as big a sacrifice on price because they are more of a specific community that's fit into an orientation of an entire concept, and I think that's part of it. It's not just small because it's close to water. Okay. Number 4, we're gonna mix it up. We're gonna head down south to Venice, and then we're gonna come back to Lakewood Ranch in a minute. But what is about to open is the Welland Park Golf and Country Club's actual golf course. So this is important because a lot of people have been hot on this idea in the past, right? Like they're, you know, golf, coastal proximity. If you've been familiar with Lennar golf brands, Lakewood National, Bonita National, Babcock National, it offers a lot of affordability because they do coach style homes, they do condominiums, like a lot of condominiums in one building. They have the loosest rental restrictions in a lot of towns when it comes to suburbia. But the opening of this community takes out, or the opening of the golf course takes out a lot of ambiguity and a lot of vagueness. Because Welland Park right now is about to open, I think they just had their soft opening of the downtown Welland. And with this opening right here is opportunity for you, for this video's context, is the more this stuff is built out and you can see it, you can golf that course. A lot of times they leave it public while they're building out the community. You can walk that downtown. It's gonna go gangbusters. I can't even describe how much it's gonna go. You know, this is 18 minutes one way to the beach, which Lakewood Ranch doesn't have really in capacity of most communities. You know, full-on golf course, lovely amenities. The downtown's unbelievable. It's super walkable. You can walk to the Braves Stadium from a lot of these communities, and you have a lot of affordability when it comes to rental ROI, depending on if you're cash or financing. And once the community's built and the golf course is live, then I do think the people that were on the fence about what it's gonna look like are gonna know. And I do think some of the investment opportunity will be a lot more anticlimactic as we go. Okay, the next one, I'm gonna throw a quick one out, and then I have a kind of a special, unique one for the last one. So this one is Sky Ranch Townhomes in mid-Sarasota. So Sky Ranch is 100%, well, kind of, mostly Taylor Morrison. 3 layers, Casilla, single families, Esplanade, and then they have a townhome one that's completely separate. So the point of this part is $375,000 for a pretty good sized townhome, 10 miles one way to Siesta Key, whether it's for investment or your homestead or whatever it may be. We've done a couple. It seems like it's getting harder to replicate that price point in Sarasota especially. And a townhome in the middle part of Sarasota in this particular community, with what's going to be built behind it and all that kind of stuff, you're kind of safe on an equity standpoint in a lot of ways because the price point's just simply lower. There's enough division between single family pricing and townhomes potentially where you're just guaranteeing equity even a little bit more because it has some room to grow. And you're also circumventing monthly payment, down payment, all that kind of stuff, just because the principal's so low with higher interest rates. So townhomes at Sky Ranch I think are interesting. All right, the last one for this video I wanted to speak about was what I'm calling the reintroduction of the Windward community in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. So this is a quick catch up. So Windward is a Neil community. Neil's the builder. It's in Lower Lakewood Ranch, Florida, and I think still technically right now, as far as release communities go, it's the closest community in all of Lakewood Ranch, Florida Census District to town. So because of its location, it becomes really interesting because you get all the suburbs, you get all the cool stuff like Waterside I'm at now, but you get into town. You're not that far removed, you're 10 miles, right? So, you know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it really had a sunk in place that made sense in the market, I felt like. So this part of Lakewood was mostly really expensive. You know, you had Shoreview and Lake House Cove, you know, big bodies of water. So the division of what Windward was in pricing was several $100,000 different, right? It gave, you know, pool homes that are family sizes, it gave access to that, where those other two neighborhoods maybe were not, that wasn't the main demographic. It was just interesting. It had a, you know, 2,900 square feet, it had a 2,200 square feet. A lot of them made sense. The villas were under $300,000. So the floor plans were divided from each other, and they were divided from the rest of apples for apples comparisons in Lakewood Ranch. And then as the market got aggressive, right? Like obviously over the last year or so, you know, certain communities start slipping into where I just don't think, how hot I was on them, I don't think it makes as much sense. They're not as attractive as that. The pricing gets more similar to other communities around, and you're like, well, I liked it a lot at this price, but at 1.2 million, I don't know. I mean, then you start to look at the negatives. You start to look at the school districts, not as high. You start to look at the family dynamic of the average home in there is going to be much less than your home now. And I felt like that happened to Windward in a lot of capacities. So sitting here in 2023 for this video, I think what's interesting is where the coastal collection currently sits versus what else you can do, right? So if you've been in the market, your perspective of, say you've been in the market for 3 years, and the coastal collection is the Kiowa 2, the Kiowa, the Savannah 2, the Sanibel, Captiva, I think is the other one. You know, really nice floor plans of 27 to 3,200 square feet, 60-foot plane, wide pool decks, open floor plans. A lot of people love the models. That was never a thing about not liking the models. But where they currently sit is you're realistically $1 million to 1.2, something like that. And if you've been in the market, what messes you up is that might have been 750K, 850K in, you know, mid 2021 or late 2020 or whatever it may be. But what you got to look at now is those great floor plans at that price. What else can you do? So that's your big kicker here. And I think these start to become more in vogue for me because of the comparisons now in a maturing market. Can't do anything at the Lake Club for that price. Can't do anything at the Isles for that price, really, realistically. Can't do anything at Wild Blue for that price. Now we're naming comparables around the area, right? Maybe Country Club West and East resales, but not in the same way. And then Waterside, you could say there's 1 million new communities coming. I'm gonna have options. Not really. So the Alcove is Neil's signature, same builder, but they're semi-custom. 46 total homes, HOA is higher than Windward, no amenities. So a very different value prop. Avanti's Pulte, I think the biggest floor plan in the whole thing's like 2,100 square feet. That's not apples for apples. Nautique is more like urban, cool kind of housing. It's gonna be different, mostly townhomes. Emerald Landing, similar to that. So as you, Kingfisher Estates, luxury, 13 total homes. As you start to whittle down, you know, Windward versus all these other communities, I think this one particular collection is now more interesting to me. There's more incentives than there ever been. And I wouldn't say I'm as hot on the smaller homes there and the villas. I think they're still a little, maybe too expensive for what they are. But the 2,900 to 3,100 square feet on a single story at Windward right now in the coastal collection, I think could be interesting moving into 2023. All right, my friends, that is a wrap for this video. I hope you enjoyed the format. Thought this was important stuff to get out. If you did, please consider subscribing and liking. Also, if we can assist you with any real estate help at all, buying, selling, relocating, anything in between. I know I say a lot of words, but we have a great team. So please consider reaching out. Contact information is everywhere. And finally, my website, thesunshinestateco.com, I'll put the URL here. I have free resources and downloads, and I continue to add to that library. We have real estate searches. We have a lot of ways to get engaged. More importantly, thank you so much for watching. As always, really appreciate the support. We'll see you on the next one.